9 experienced hikers, 9 friends, 9 souls ready to challenge the unforgiving Ural Mountains. On February 2, 1959, they pitched their tent on a remote slope called Koletsyakal, the Dead Mountain. What happened next is a moment of pure, blinding terror. Something or someone came for them, a panic so absolute, they tore their way out of the tent fabric, running, barefoot, into the -30-degree night. The investigation found bodies with crushed skulls, ribs fractured as if hit by a car, and one victim, missing her tongue and eyes. The official Soviet verdict, death by an unknown compelling force. Decades later, the case is still open. Was it a missile test, an avalanche, or something far more ancient and sinister? Unravel the nightmare now. The year was 1959. Deep in the heart of the Soviet Union, a team of 10 experienced trekkers, mostly students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, set out. Their leader was 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, a man known for his expertise and ambition. Their goal: to reach the summit of Otorten Mountain. This was a Category 3 expedition, one of the most challenging in the region. Before the journey began, one member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill and was forced to turn back. He was the sole survivor. The remaining 9, 7 men and 2 women, continued into the wilderness. Their journey was meticulously documented in their diaries and photographs. These records show a group full of high spirits, confidence, and jokes. They were a team. The final diary entry, dated February 1st, confirms their position. They had veered slightly off course due to the fierce blizzard, setting up camp on the slopes of Koletsyakal. The name, in the local Mansi language, translates chillingly to the Dead Mountain. They chose a spot exposed to the freezing winds, preparing for a difficult night. Everything seemed normal. The tent was pitched, they had food, and they were safe. Until they weren't. The last image taken by the group shows them preparing dinner. A moment of normalcy, seconds before the inexplicable terror began. The search continued for months until the snow thawed, revealing the remaining 4 bodies inside a deep ravine. And these were the ones that changed the case from a tragedy into a nightmare. 3 of the trekkers, Lyudmila Dubinina, Semyon Zolotaryov, and Nikolai Thibault-Brignoles, showed signs of massive trauma. Their skulls were fractured and their ribs were crushed. The force required to inflict these injuries was described as equivalent to a high-speed car crash, yet there was almost no external damage to the skin or soft tissues. If they were not beaten, what force caused such internal destruction? But the most macabre discovery belonged to Lyudmila Dubinina. She was found kneeling, face down in a stream. Her eyes were missing, and more disturbingly, her tongue had been violently removed. Finally, there was the perplexing element of radiation. Several pieces of clothing retrieved from the bodies showed high levels of radioactive contamination. The Soviet investigators offered no explanation for this bizarre and terrifying detail. The bodies told a story of brutal, immense, and invisible force. A story the Soviet government quickly classified as secret. Decades of speculation have produced countless theories, but only a few truly attempt to explain the impossible combination of sliced tents, barefoot running, massive internal trauma, and radiation. Theory 1. The natural killer, a slab avalanche. For years, the official and most scientifically plausible theory suggested a slab avalanche. A section of dense snow broke loose, hitting the tent and partially burying the hikers. This sudden, immense pressure could explain the crushed ribs and skulls without external bruising. In panic, they would have cut the tent to escape the suffocation risk, running barefoot into the cold. However, critics note the terrain was not steep enough for a typical avalanche, and the precise, surgical wounds on the bodies remain largely unaddressed by this explanation. Theory 2. The cover-up, military testing. Another persistent theory suggests the group stumbled upon a secret Soviet military operation. Proponents believe the high levels of radiation found on some clothes, coupled with reports of strange lights in the sky by other groups that night, point to a failed missile test or a secret detonation. Under this theory, the trauma was caused by a powerful pressure wave from the blast, which causes severe internal damage. The Soviet government's rush to classify the file as secret only fueled the speculation of a military cover-up. Theory 3. The paranormal infrasound panic. Perhaps the most terrifying theory relies on physics and psychology. It suggests that a rare weather phenomenon, likely vortex shedding caused by the specific shape of the mountain, created powerful infrasound waves. These low-frequency sounds are inaudible to humans, but can induce intense feelings of dread, panic, nausea, and disorientation. This could explain why the experienced hikers fled their camp in unison and in pure terror, believing they were being chased by an unseen enemy. The extreme panic could have led them to inflict injuries upon themselves or each other in the darkness. The truth, perhaps, is a sinister combination of factors. But the final Soviet conclusion, death by an unknown compelling force, remains the only official answer. More than 6 decades later, the frozen slope of Kholat Syakhl still holds its secrets. We are left with fragments of a nightmare, a tent slashed by desperate hands, 9 sets of footprints leading away from survival, internal injuries that defy the laws of physics, and a chilling governmental stamp, death by unknown compelling force. The 9 hikers of the Dyatlov group faced a terror so profound that choosing to run naked into the brutal cold was their only rational choice. But what was it? Was it the military silence? Was it the unseen force of nature? Or was it something else entirely? A beast? A man? Or a supernatural entity that remains hidden in the snow? We may never know for certain what truly happened on the dead mountain. What theory do you believe explains this terrifying incident? Let me know in the comments below. And if you dare to explore more unsolved nightmares from history, subscribe to the channel and join us in the dark.